So now I am starting it again. Good morning, all. So we have in the last lecture we have covered about the transactions, basics of the transactions, and the properties that the transaction should have. So I am just recapping it. So the transaction should have these properties with it includes atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. That is also known as acid property. So someone can explain that what is the atomicity. Someone can like explain in like simple words. The PPT is visible to you also. You can read and you can explain it. Like atomicity means
Sir,
About
abort and commit. Sir, abort and commit.
abort. Atomicity means abort and commit. Yes, the abort and commit are the two operations that could be there in the atomicity. In short, we can say that it follows all or nothing property, all or nothing rule. Consistency means no violation of integrity constraints. We have seen the various integrity constraints. Isolation means all the concurrent transactions that are being executing parallelly, they should be invisible to other transactions. And finally, durability means once one the transaction has committed, it will not be modified even if the system fails. Now we are coming on to the next topic, that is transaction states. Transaction states, now you are, I think, able to see this particular diagram. In this diagram you are able to see the various states of the transactions. During the transaction can be in either in these states. There are 5 states actually. You are seeing the states in the ellipse. The states are active, partially committed, committed, failed, and abort. So it starts with the begin transaction. When the transaction begins, it must be in the active state. Active, it means ki now transaction is being executing. Every transactions while it is executing, it is in active states, and during this state, the transaction will be either reading or writing the data item, as you are seeing in this diagram also. So when the transaction starts, every transactions must be in this active state. Okay. Now after once the transaction ends matlab when the last statement of the transactions has executed, but not commit statement. I am not talking about the commit statement. If you have remembered that in my example, the last statement, the 8th statement, was the commit statement, and the first statement was the begin transaction. So you can correlate that particular example with this diagram also. Begin transaction means key transaction is being started, and commit means key transaction has been successfully completed. But right now after active, I am talking about the end transaction. End transaction means when the second last statement has executed, the statement before the commit statement. Okay, so it will be in the partially committed state. Partially committed, it means right now it has not been committed successfully. It, what does the committed means now? All the changes made by the transactions needs to be updated onto the disk also, onto the memory also. So finally when the commit statement executed, it will be done actually. That's why we are saying ki after executing the second last statement, it will be in the partially committed state. And there may be one more possibility that you are seeing in this diagram, that after active, it may be unsuccessful. Unsuccessful means it may be because of some bad inputs, it may be because of some system failures, it may be because of some system crashes. Anything can happen. Because of that, the transaction may be unsuccessful. It may be aborted meanwhile during the execution. Like we have also seen that after the statement number 4, somehow the system fails say. That is what the case is this. So after the unsuccessful of the transaction, it will comes into the failed state. So after active state, there may be possibly two states for the transactions. One is partially committed and one is failed. If the transaction is unsuccessful, then it will be in the failed state, and otherwise it will be in the partially committed state. Now after the failed state, it needs to be rolled back. We have seen that whenever the transaction failed in between or before the commit statement because of some like failure, then it needs to be rolled back up to a specific point specified by the database manager or a programmer. It may be the very first statement, or it may be somewhere that we have specified the save points. Okay, so it needs to be rolled back and then it is aborted. Then the transaction will be in the aborted state. So after failing, it needs to be aborted. And now suppose the after the partially committed state, the last statement that was there in the transaction commit statement successfully executed, then the whole transaction will be committed. It means now the final changes have been made to the disk, and now the transaction cannot be rolled back. So that was the durability property. Once the transactions has successfully completed, then it must not be rolled back, it must not be like cancelled. So once the commit statement occurs, then the transition will be in the committed state. Okay, now again you can see that on the partially committed state there could be another option, that unsuccessful again. So it may possible that after the last statement system may also fails. At that particular moment of time, the whole transactions may be failed again, and it needs to be rolled back, and then again it will be into the aborted state. So is it clear to all now? It starts with the active states and it may ends to either the commit state or to the aborted state. Is it okay now? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now with the in
Yes,
the
sir.
next slide, I am
Yes.
like I am trying to explain whatever I said in the few words, so you can read it out fast. Like active means initial state, the transaction is in this state while it is being executing. Okay, so whenever the transaction is executing, it is in active state. Partially committed state, it means when the final statement is executed but not commit. Okay, failed state means when the normal execution is no longer possible. It may be because of some bad input, system errors, deadlock, system crash, whatever it is. So if somehow suppose the system fails, then it will be in the failed state. Aborted means if the transaction has failed and then it needs to be rolled back actually, and the database has to be restored to the prior state of the transaction or any other state that has been specified by the database manager. Okay, then it will be in the aborted state. And finally committed state, it is the transaction when the transaction has successfully completed. So the commit state and the abort states are the two final states for the transaction. So the transaction at the end, it may be in the committed or it may be aborted. Done. So these are the 5 states that a transaction can be in while it is executing. Any issue now? Anyone wants to ask anything in this? You can raise now. Raise your questions. Anyone you want to ask anything? Otherwise, we can move ahead. No question at all? At least say yes or no.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Should we move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these 5 states are clear. Now we are coming on to the next point, that is concurrent execution. Concurrent execution, we have already seen this in the slide which explains isolation. Isolation means, isolation properties we are talking about when multiple transactions are being executed concurrently or multiple transactions are executing parallelly. Okay, so concurrent execution means कि multiple transactions are being executed at the same time. Like we have taken an example also in that case ki like some multiple peoples or multiple persons are trying to reserve for the same train at the same time from the same source and destination. That can be considered as the parallel transactions. So the concurrent execution means the transactions executing more than one transaction at the same time. For that we can use the technique of interleaving execution actually. If in this slide you are able to see the table, that is there are two different transactions, transaction T1 and transaction T2. Transaction T1, the statements of the transaction T1 are read A, read C, and write C. Okay, so transaction 1 is having 4 different statements. He is trying to read and write A and read and write C. While on the other side, the transaction T2 needs to read the value of B only. Okay, so now what happens actually? What is actually interleaving or concurrent transaction, concurrent executions are like same. For concurrent transactions, we will use the interleaving technique to execute the transaction. Interleaving means ki like in between the transaction needs to be executed. Like in this case, after T1 read A and write A, the transaction T2 starts, and it is starting the reading B and then writing B. Right now you can see that transaction has not finished all. The remaining 2 statements are there with the transaction T1, that is reading C and writing C. So that is known as interleaving actually. Where while the transaction T2 has started its execution when the transaction T1 has not finished yet. Okay, so interleaving means firstly transaction T1 executes, then T2, and then finally T1. So transaction T1 is not executing at all together. All the statements of transaction T1 are not executing all together. And meanwhile, some other transaction is interrupting it and trying to execute its own instructions. That is known as interleaving. And that is what we are saying, that T1 and T2 are executing parallelly. They are executing concurrently. Okay. So concurrent execution has many advantages and disadvantages also, and we need to somehow find some techniques, some ways or means in order to like provide the concurrent execution actually, because concurrent execution gives us advantages also. And now we are discussing the advantages of concurrent executions that are very simple. The terms we have already known actually. It increases the overall CPU utilization. It increases the CPU utilization. CPU utilization means it is also known as system throughput. System throughput means if the average number of the transactions completed in a given time. If suppose if I am trying to execute T1 and T2 serially, now please listen carefully. Serially means T1 firstly executing completely, then after T2, or vice versa. It means T2 will execute it completely and then T1, sorry. So if I am trying to execute T1 and T2 serially, or on the other hand someone is trying to execute T1 and T2 concurrently, so actually what happens in the concurrent execution, it increases the CPU utilization actually. You are actually you can see that whenever you are working on a system, multiple tasks you can perform. Like you are able to see the movie, or parallelly you are able to see, like listen the songs, you are able to work on the words. That are all concurrent execution actually in the case of your real-time operating systems. Okay, you will learn these things in the OS also in the third year. So what the concurrent executions do, it increase firstly the CPU utilization. Overall total number of average number of transactions will be increased. Second one is better average response time. It is somehow related to the above, that it means ki short transactions will take less time in compare with the serial execution. Same, suppose T2 is a short transaction and T1 is a large transaction. Suppose I am allowing T1 to complete one first. So what happens? T2 needs to wait till T1 completes. So when T1 completes, then T2 only starts in the case of serial execution. But in the case of concurrent, it may be executed in less amount of time. Okay, so better average response time can also be achieved with the help of concurrent execution. Now, better average turnaround time. Turnaround time is the time transaction submission and the transaction completion. The time in between the transaction submission and the transaction completion. That is again will be becoming better in the case of concurrent execution. Better average waiting time. Transaction needs to wait less. Better disk utilization. Disk will be idle for less amount of time. So these are all can be a benefits or advantages of the concurrent executions. That's why we will preferring the concurrent executions in our databases. We are trying to avoid the serial transactions. Okay, there are many techniques that will be there to handle these concurrent executions that we will learn now. So these are some of the advantages. As everything has pros and cons, so concurrent execution also has some disadvantages that will be discussed later on. Okay, So some schemes are there now, concurrency control schemes that are known as concurrency control schemes. That is the mechanism to achieve the isolation actually. That is related to isolation I have initially told you. So these are the schemes to control the interaction among the concurrent transactions in order to prevent them from destroying the consistency in the databases. That you will study in the next units, concurrency control schemes in details. There are many like locking protocols and many more. In this unit at the last, I am also going to like have some disadvantages of concurrency control now. It will be covered at the end. Okay, now that was a short introduction of the concurrent executions. What is the concurrent executions and what could be the disadvantages of them? Okay, now I am coming on to the next topic, that is actually the part of this unit 4, that is schedule. Now we have seen the transactions. So transaction is a collection of some statements that are being executed, starting with the start transaction and ending with the commit transactions. So transaction is a set of statements. Now what is a schedule actually now? Schedule is a collection of transactions. Schedule is a collection of transactions. Like I have initiated with my very first slide, then I have taken T1, one transaction, T2, two second transaction, and then I have combined both of them, T1 and T2. So that could be a schedule also. So collection of multiple transactions will be known as a schedule. And now the definition is a chronological execution sequence of transactions is called a schedule. A schedule can have many transactions in it, and each transaction will comprising of a number of instructions or the task that we have already seen. Now a schedule for a set of transactions must consist of all the instructions of those transactions. So in schedule, like suppose there are 5 transactions in a schedule, so the schedule must contain all the instructions of each transaction. Okay, it must preserve some order in which the instructions appears in each of the individual transactions. So schedule is simply, we can say that schedule is a collection of multiple transactions that are going to be executed either serially or in interleaving fashion. Okay, now we will see the different types of schedules, and parallelly you will see the example of schedules now. Okay, so first type of the schedule is complete schedule. Complete means committed. If a schedule contains with an abort or a commit for each transactions in a schedule, then it is known as complete schedule. We have seen in the case of the transaction diagram that the transactions ends only in 2 cases, either in the commit state committed and when either it is in aborted. So complete schedule is a schedule where either the abort or commit for each transaction has been there. Okay, now serial schedule. Serial schedule and non-serial schedule are the 2 schedules in which the operations form from a set of concurrent transactions are not interleaved. जहां पर interleaving नहीं होगी वो serial schedule होगा. I have already taken the example. If T1 executes completely once and after that T2 starts, then it is serial order. And right now what you are seeing on your screen, it is interleaving. Okay, so serial schedule means one transaction will only start after the completion of the other transactions, then it is serial schedule, and otherwise it is non-serial schedule. Now coming on to the example. Now I think you are able to see 3 different schedules on your screen. Is it visible to you now? बहुत कुछ बोला है आपको.
Yes, sir.
अब आपको बोलना है पहले क्योंकि कुछ क्वेश्चंस आने वाले हैं आपके लिए. Now you need to be like aware about now you will see some examples in order to understand whatever we have learned till now theoretically. Okay, so now please do concentrate on your screen. Now there are 3 different schedules. First of all, we will learn that what is a schedule actually. So schedule 1, I have told that schedule is a collection of transactions. So schedule 1 is having how many transactions? 2 transactions. Schedule 2 is having 2 transactions, and schedule 3 is having again 2 transactions. Now you can compare these 3 schedules. Okay, so all the transaction statements are same, but I have written them in different manner. Is it clear to all now? First schedule
Yes, sir.
is having T1. T1 actually transaction T1 has 2 statements, that is A, which is multiplying by 10, B, which is multiplying the value of B, sorry, which is subtracting the value by 10. Okay. Now T2 is there, in which A is divided by 10 and B is multiplying by 4. So there are two transactions, T1 and T2, and I have written all of these in different manners now to make a different kinds of schedule. So schedule 1, what you can say about that, whether it is a serial schedule or it is a interleaved schedule or non-serial schedule. I am talking about schedule 1 now. Schedule 1 is serial schedule or a non-serial schedule?
Serial schedule. Serial.
Why it is serial schedule?
Serial.
Why it is serial schedule? Tell me fast. Why it is serial schedule? Now let me clear once again. Now you are able to see that the T1 is executing completely and after that only T2 is starting. That's why it is serial schedule. So all the statements occurring in the T1 are being executed first. Once the T1 commits or ends, then T2 starts. Then all the statements of T2 will commit. That's why it is called a serial schedule. So T1 is executing, then T2 is executing. Okay. Now see what about the schedule number 2, whether it is serial schedule or a non-serial schedule.
Sir, non-serial.
Non-serial schedule.
Sir, non-serial.
Serial schedule 2 is non-serial schedule. Why?
सर है ना, क्योंकि पहले T2 परफॉर्म हो रहा है फिर T1 परफॉर्म हो रहा है इसलिए.
Sir, it is serial.
Yes, why it is serial?
Sir, because first T2 transaction has been complete processed, then after T1 transaction will done.
Good, good. Schedule T2 is also a serial schedule, Pushpendra, because all the statements of T2 is executing first and then only T1 starts.
सर पर अभी आपने कहा ना कि पहले T1 परफॉर्म होना चाहिए.
नहीं, मैंने बोला कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन कंप्लीटली पहले कंप्लीट होना चाहिए, either T1 or T2. In my definition also I have said that the operations that forms a concurrent transactions and are not interleaved. मतलब one transaction is not starting till the other transactions complete, whether it is T1 or whether it is T2 or whether it is T3. Suppose यहाँ पर 4 भी होते तो भी हम यही बोलते कि T2 हो चाहे T1 हो, पहले एक कोई कंप्लीट होगा तभी दूसरा स्टार्ट होगा. Then it is known as
Okay, sir.
So
Okay,
in
sir.
this you are also seeing that the transaction T2 executes completely. Both statements of transaction T2 are executing and then the T1 starts. So it is again a serial schedule actually. Okay, Pushpinder, is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any doubt in this? Please raise your questions right now. Otherwise, आगे जाके फिर issue आएगा. So what is serial and what is non-serial? These types of schedule needs to be understood. What is interleaving? It needs to also be understood. Now schedule 3. Schedule 3 is either serial or non-serial.
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 Now it is non-serial. Why? Because not that either neither the T1 is being completed nor the T2 is being completed. T1 starts its executions, then T2 initiate while it is T1 has not finished. Again T2 has not finished, T1 starts, then again T2. So that's why it is non-serial schedule, and this kind of interleaving is called interleaved schedule. Because of this interleaving of the transactions statements, this schedule is also known as interleaved schedule. Okay, so non-serial schedule and interleaved schedules are same. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Non-serial schedule, in this definition you can see that in which the operations from the set of concurrent transactions are interleaved. अब now you observe also this schedule. अब ये इसमें schedule 1, schedule 2 and schedule 3. Schedule 2 में ये दोनों जो हैं वो parallelly execute हो रहे हैं transactions. Transaction T1 and transaction T2 are parallelly being executed. And in the schedule 1 and 2 they are parallelly but they are serially also. इसका मतलब हुआ कि T1 के बाद ही T2 स्टार्ट होगा और T2 के बाद ही T1 स्टार्ट होगा. So that's why it comes also under the category of serial schedule. Whether it is like, although they are executing parallelly. Okay, done. Now schedule 1 is interleaved or not interleaved?
Sir, non-interleaved.
Non-interleaved.
Non-interleaved. Good. Schedule 2 is interleaved or non-interleaved?
Non-interleaved.
Finally, schedule 3 is
Non-interleaved.
interleaved. Schedule
Yes,
3 is
non-interleaved.
non-interleaved or non-interleaved?
Sir, interleaved.
Interleaved.
Schedule 3.
तो
Interleaved.
ये चार जो टर्म्स हैं आपके पास, सीरियल शेड्यूल, नॉन सीरियल शेड्यूल, इंटरलीविंग और पैरेलल शेड्यूल्स, इज इट क्लियर टू ऑल और नॉट?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anybody wants
Yes,
to
sir.
ask anything? You can raise. You can unmute yourself. You can ask now. I want to be like all, that it should be clear to all. Serial schedule, what is serial schedule, what is non-serial schedule, and what is interleaving and what is non-interleaving. ये चीजें पता हो जानी चाहिए सब लोगों को. Is it okay now? Anyone wants to ask anything? So now we are moving on to the next type. So we have seen like 3 different types right till now: completed, serial, and non-serial. The next type of the schedule is equivalent schedule. Again, it is a very important kind of schedule. So equivalent schedule, it means 2 schedules are equivalent if they produce the same results on the database states. Right now you will not see this diagram, okay? You just concentrate on the text. 2 schedules are equivalent if they produce the same results on the database state. Now, same results means, like suppose now in this table you will see table T1 has some kind of statements, and transition T1 has some kind of statements, and transition T2 also has some kind of statements. Okay, so first of all tell me whether it is interleaving or it is not non-interleaving.
Non-interleaving.
Sir, non-interleaved.
And they are serial schedule, as T1 is executing
Yes.
completely, after that only T2 starts. Okay, now
Yes.
assume that the transition T1 transform 50 rupees from the A to B. You are able to see in this table also that T1 is trying to debit the amount of rupees 50 from the account A, and that will be credited to the amount B. And what the transition T2 is doing? Transition T2 is trying to transfer the 10% of the balance of A to the transaction to the account B. 10% of A will be transferred to the account B. Okay, so that is what I want to use in the next slide in order to explain the equivalent schedule. Now coming on to the next slide. Again the same, the statements are same. You just consider that T1 and T2 I have taken. So now in schedule 1, T1 and T2 are in serial order. In schedule 2, what happens? They are in interleaving manner, and schedule 3 also the statements are in interleaving fashion. Is it clear to all now till now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Schedule 1 is serial schedule, and 2 and 3 are non-serial schedules. Somehow I have changed the instruction in schedule 2 and schedule 3. Okay, now we will see the result of the execution of schedule 1, schedule 2 and schedule 3. Initially assume that A and B are 100. I have written also there. Is it visible to you? So
Yes,
initially
sir.
the value of initially the value of A and B are 100. Okay, so we are assuming that account A holds 100 rupees initially, account B holds 100 rupees initially. Now tell me, in S1 A and B are, but after executing the whole schedule, what will be the value of A and B are? You need to have the copy and paper now with you in order to solve it, or if you can orally, it is good. Tell me fast.
Sir, 200.
What is the value of A after executing the T1 and T2? I am now talking about the schedule. I am not now talking about the transaction T1 only or either T2 only. I am talking about the whole schedule. When whole schedule will execute completely, it means once T1 and then T2. Then what will be the value of A and B?
सर ए की होगी 50 और बी की होगी 150.
Everyone is agreed?
सर नो,
Sir,
A
take
की होगी
one-
45 और B की होगी 155.
155, yes.
Yes, sir.
Pushpinder, I think you are seeing only the transaction 1.
Yes.
After
Yes,
transaction
sir.
1, there are some statements in the transaction T2 also.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. As per the transaction T1, you are right. It means A will be 50 and B will be 150. But after that, T2 will also execute. It will read the value of A, and at that time the value of A is 50.
Yes,
Is it
sir.
okay?
Yes, sir.
When the transaction T2 starts, the value of A will be 50, and now 10% of A is 5, which will be debited from A. So A becomes 45 and B
45.
becomes 155. So finally, the
Yes, sir.
answer is 45 and 155. Is it okay to you all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now come on to the schedule 2. What will be the value of A and B? Calculating, be careful.
So same value 45 and 155.
Who is this?
Yes, sir. Same value.
Good. Who was the
Same,
first one to
sir.
answer? Who was the first one to answer? Please
Sir,
name
Ayush
yourself.
Jain.
Ayush. Ayush, 45 and 155. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All, all needs to say yes.
Yes, sir.
So it is 45 and 155 again. Now you can see that schedule 1 and schedule 2. Schedule 1 is serial, but schedule 2 is non-serial schedule. In spite of that, both are producing the same results. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now come on to the schedule 3.
Sir,
What could be the value?
सर
हाँ जी बोलो.
सर बट ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है कि जबकि वो एक सीरियल और दूसरा नॉन सीरियल है फिर भी सेम वैल्यू आ रही है?
I will explain it. I will explain. First, you calculate the value in the schedule 3. A and B
Okay.
after schedule 3 will execute.
Schedule 3 is also same.
Schedule 3 will also produce the same result.
Yes, sir. 45 and 155.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
45
Try
and
once
155.
again.
Yes, sir.
एक बार और ट्राई करिए.
Yes, sir.
एक बार और ट्राई करिए. बहुत ध्यान से देखिएगा. एक बार शेड्यूल को बहुत ध्यान से देखो. Read A. Let me start. Read A, and A is equals to A minus 50. Okay. Then what happens? T2 starts. So what is the value of read A when T2 starts?
Sir, 100.
Sir,
Yes.
100. Yes, sir. 100.
Good. As it is not written in T1, write statement of T1 has not been executed till. So it has not been updated to the disk. We have seen it. Initially, I have explained it. So when T2 starts, the value of A is 100. Now calculate the value.
90, sir.
Sir, 90 and 150.
Final value. I am asking about the final values. Final values of A and B both. Do it fast.
50.
So 90 and
90 and
150.
160.
90 and 160.
Yes, sir.
Is
90 and
everyone is
160.
able to get it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone who is not able to get the value 90 and 160? Anyone who has any doubt? Say yes or no.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Everyone has got it,
No, sir.
that how we are getting the value 90 and how we are getting the value 160. So you need to be careful while you are reading the instructions. So that is what the meaning of concurrent transaction. Now the transaction is actually not in consistent state. Okay, in schedule S3, it is not in consistent state. What actually the database manager or the programmer wants, it is not the actual output. Okay, and because of this is the reason is that the write statement has been executed after the transaction T2 starts, or vice versa. We can say that transaction T2 starts before actually updating the value of the value A. Is it okay? Now compare the schedule 2 and schedule 3. I am saying that schedule 1 and schedule 2 are producing the same results, while schedule 1 and schedule 3 or schedule 2 and schedule 3 are not producing the same results. So on the basis of that, which schedules are equivalent? Actually what we are trying to identify the equivalent schedule. हमारा topic था वो क्या था? Equivalent schedules. So what S1 and S2 are equivalent schedule or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
They are equivalent.
Yes, sir.
So S1 and S2 are equivalent schedule. Okay, because they are producing the same result. Now, are the schedule 1 and 3 are equivalent or
So
non-equivalent?
non-equivalent.
No, sir. No equivalent.
Non-equivalent. Now, Pushpinder, have you got the answer of your question?
Yes, sir.
See,
Sir.
why schedule 2, like as schedule 2 is non-serial schedule, but still it is producing the same result, and schedule 2 is serial schedule and it is producing the same result. So we have somehow maintained how the instructions are being executed in the schedule 2. We have applied some ways and means to set the instructions in such a manner that they will get the same schedule, same output actually, as the serial schedule.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why we are getting the actual output. So we need to, like, now in logically, if you are seeing which one is better, either schedule 1 and schedule 2, which one is better? Which execution is better actually?
Schedule 1.
Schedule 1.
Schedule 1 or
Sir,
schedule 2?
schedule
Schedule
2.
1.
Schedule 2. Schedule 2 is better
Yes.
because two transactions are being executed parallelly, and I have explained many advantages of successfully executions. It will take less, the turnaround time of the schedule is less. It is total CPU utilization is very good. Okay, that five advantages we have studied, that all meets with the schedule 2. So schedule 2, in the case of either, if I need to like choose either in the case of schedule 1 or 2, then obviously I will choose schedule 2 execution. So parallel execution, right now the demand is parallel execution. क्या आप ऐसा system purchase करेंगे जहाँ पर serial order में execution हो आपकी task का? यदि आप गाने सुन रहे हैं तो आप programming नहीं कर पाए, ऐसा system purchase करेंगे आप?
No, sir.
No,
So that is
sir.
what.
sir.
So which one is better now, schedule 2 or schedule 1?
Sir,
Schedule
schedule 2.
Schedule 2.
है ना? So where multiple transactions can be performed parallelly. That is what I want to convey with this. So schedule 1 and 2 are equivalent, while the schedule 1 and schedule 3 are non-equivalent. Same for schedule 2 and schedule 3. Schedule 2 and 3 are also non-equivalent schedules. Okay. Now again,
Yes.
you come on to this slide. What will be the value of A and B? Do we have enough time to complete this question now? I think no. It is around almost 10:59. So we are finishing now. You need to attend the next class. I will take one more lecture to complete this slide. So how many of you will attend the session? How many of you want that we will have some another session to complete the slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right into the
Yes,
chat
sir.
box, or
Yes,
you can
sir.
so
Sir, inform
should I
Kiran-
arrange
Kiran
some
for
other
link.
or one more session to complete this particular unit?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So I will try to conduct one more lecture in order to complete it. I think initially we have missed some time because of network problem from my side. Please pardon me for that. Or then I will schedule the next lecture and I will inform you, and we will have a next session online. I will try to cover the unit number 4 in that session. Probably it will be on the Monday or Tuesday. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
सर सर
हाँ जी बोलो बेटा.
सर एक बार वो ये जो सीरियल और नॉन सीरियल जो मैंने एक बार डाउट पूछा था सर, एक बार वो वापस प्लीज रिपीट कर दो एक बार.
हाँ बेटा आप बोलो. आपने पूछा था
कि
सर
कि इन दोनों का आंसर सेम आ रहा है लेकिन सीरियल और नॉन सीरियल है फिर भी, तो सर इसका एक बार रिपीट कर दीजिए वापस.
Okay. Now listen that in schedule S1 it is serial execution, in schedule S2 it is non-serial execution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what happens actually? System manager or database manager, or you can say a programmer, okay, SQL query writer, somehow
Yes, sir.
try to manage the steps in such a way that result will be same. हमने क्या किया बेटा, यहाँ पर हमने कुछ इंटरलीविंग की ऑपरेशंस की किसी तरीके से कि हमारा रिजल्ट सेम आ जाए, ये हमें करना पड़ेगा. That is
अच्छा.
done on the programming end actually. Okay, we need to make the interleaving in the transactions. हम ये नहीं कर सकते कि हम सीरियल ऑर्डर में एग्जीक्यूट करें. यदि हम सीरियल ऑर्डर में एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे तो हमें रिजल्ट तो सेम मिल जाएगा, लेकिन हम ऑप्टिमाइज नहीं होंगे. आप समझ रहे हैं? इट मे टेक मोर टाइम, इट मे टेक
Yes, sir.
मोर रिसोर्सेज ऑफ द सिस्टम्स. So in order to avoid these complexities, we need to make some kind of schedules that may be non-serial and will produce the same results as required by the user or as required by the programmer. So that schedule 2 is designed specifically by the programmer. मतलब हमने जानबूझ के ऐसा शेड्यूल तैयार करने की कोशिश की है, इंटरलीविंग करने की कोशिश की है ताकि हमें रिजल्ट मिल जाए, सही रिजल्ट मिल जाए.
Yes, sir. ताकि हम इजी में वर्क कर सके.
हाँ, एक्चुअली में हमारा लाइक व्हाट एक्चुअली द एक्चुअल आउटपुट शुड बी देयर, ऑल द थिंग्स शुड बी ऑप्टिमाइज्ड.
Yes, sir.
ऑप्टिमाइजेशन के लिए हम ऐसा काम करने की कोशिश करेंगे. सो नाउ यू विल लर्न सीरियलाइजेबिलिटी होती क्या है, ये भी हम लर्न करने वाले हैं. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में आने वाला है कि आप किसी नॉन सीरियल शेड्यूल को सीरियल शेड्यूल में, सॉरी उल्टा बोल दिया मैंने, किसी सीरियल शेड्यूल को नॉन सीरियल शेड्यूल में कैसे कन्वर्ट करेंगे. दैट इज नोन एज सीरियलाइजेबिलिटी. दैट वी विल लर्न नेक्स्ट इन नेक्स्ट लेक्चर एक्चुअली. ओके,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
S1 will be given to you. Now you will be able to get S2. कैसे होगा ये आपको समझ में आएगा.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything? Anybody wants to ask?
Sir, please
Or I
share
should
this.
stop. Yes, Palak, बोलो.
Sir, please share this PPT.
Okay, I will share this PPT.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, beta. Thank you very much.